Okay, your XP Pen tablet is amazing, but the driver's software. That's the real power source. Skip the headaches and the endless trial and error. This is a complete, ultimate walkthrough of the XP Pen driver. We're setting up the pen, optimizing the pressure curve, mapping your shortcut keys, and fixing those annoying bugs all in one place. Bookmark this one because this is the only guide you'll ever need to make your XP Pen perfect. Over here, we have our XP Pen drivers open. Firstly, how do you get this open? That you're gonna have to wait till the end, alright? So over here it says, Dear XP Pen user, please connect this device first. So all you're gonna do again is plug in your USB cable to your laptop and your Type C cable into your amazing XP Pen. Again, this is not a sponsored message for XP Pen. It's just my complete helpfulness and kindness to help anyone in need. So as soon as you open this, it will show defaults of everything. So I don't want to set it to default because I have this all customized to my needs, but it's basically, yeah, doesn't really matter basic, not basic. You can basically make it as long as you're comfortable. So this is my way of my XP Pen being correct. So if you look over here, this is basically, if you call it home, it's just your where you set up your entire XP Pen. So over here, you just have to click on this. You can either make it a keyboard shortcut, mouse control, other you like switching driver, switch monitor, precision mode, pen and eraser. I don't know why it's B, but anyway. Scroll disable. Disabling means that you completely cut this off. Okay, so if you also can run an application which doesn't really work as good as I want it to, but yeah, I would usually prefer a shortcut keys, but it's of course your choice. So for the mouse control, you either have shift control, left alt, right alt, space. You can click any as many as you want of those, and then that plus one of the left click, left double click, middle click, right click, scroll up and scroll down. So of course I have mine as control S. You can also set this to default. Okay, I so for Fire Alpaca, I'll have a shortcut guide in the Ultimate Fire Alpaca guide, which is coming straight after this video. Okay, so of course mine is pen, eraser, Control Z, which is undo, redo, Control S. I am not 100% sure. I forgot what that does. All right, and then scroll up, scroll down, and eyedropper. So this is for Fire Alpaca. You can also customize this. So if you hold your mouse here, it shows you what it is. If you click on this, it shows you can roller mode or mouse mode. Mouse mode basically just means it's a mouse trackpad, but I prefer roller mode, which means you can just like in a circle go through it, and this allows you to zoom, disable or customize, scroll, rotate, brush size. So mine is currently in zoom, and if you hover the outer circle, it is also customizable as only in roller. So this only works for zoom, brush size, rotate, and scroll. These are the recommendations, but if you customize it, you can add a special button and customize the name, which is kind of confusing, so don't rather change that and use these settings, right? Okay, so let's close that. And if you always see wherever button it is, this always shows, it will show in white where it is, and it will always show in turquoise here. So here is turquoise where which button it is, and even if you hover over this, it will, so the one that you're on, the key on the actual XP Pen in the driver will light up in this turquoise green color, and the wherever you are over here with your mouse, it will show as white. Okay, even for the zoom, right? So zoom doesn't show over here, only if you click, only if you hover over it. It will show if you zoom and like my brush size. Now we honestly move on to the work area, which is basically customizing what you can do with your area. So for screen, I would recommend all monitor, big or primary monitor. But if you have a lot of monitors, I would recommend all monitor, unless you wanted to specifically go to and only work in a certain screen. So in this case, I'm using my laptop, which is single screen and not connected to my monitors. It is showing over here, this red part is default, which is your like arrow, kind of a cut off square on your XP pen. That's how it would look. And it shows in red and it zooms out to highlight on the screen where it goes. So if you actually move your XP pen, it will show on here, it will show like on that part of your screen. But you can also customize this area and do like this, for example, and will only move in this area, which can be irritating if you mistakenly do that, but it also is useful. And for rotation, right, you would always do don't custom active screen, because that means that you would basically make your XP pen short, like more smaller. So example like this, I will make it this small, and it will only be activated here, meaning I can only draw in this small little circle square, but if it's outside it won't work. So I would always just make sure it is full screen area. Proportions, I would also just leave, which can't really do anything, but yeah. So this is for your pen, tablet, and your screen. So rotation means that you can rotate your XP pen, meaning it will work in this way, and you should keep it like that because this part will go all the way there. It is super confusing in landscape if you do it like this, but for like say you're working on a phone or like tablet, you can do it like this. It's kind of useful for that. So I keep the rotation on 0. But this is also useful if you are left-handed, because if you're left-handed, you would go to 180 degrees, and if you're in 180, the keys would be on your right, meaning you use your right hand to press the keys and your left hand to draw. But I'm right-handed, so I of course keep it the other way. So it's also like kind of useful. So I'll keep it at rotation 0 degrees. Since we have currently worked on the working area and our home, we would call it, which is customizing our device as they call it. So of course mine is the Deco Pro Medium. Some of the settings will of course change depending on your model, your customization keys, etc. So over here, right, you can add like a different software. So I added Firepacker earlier. Sorry, give me a second, let's close that. And of course I added here. So if you're in this specific app, it it these shortcut keys automatically change to this app. So say for example I'm in Firepacker and I make scroll down, scroll up, I make this all different. These settings, if you click on Firepacker, will like in the software, driver software, it will only work in Firepacker. But if you just click on this, the other, it will work everywhere, right? So this will work in Firepacker everywhere, unless the settings are different. So example, if I make this a mouse control, say I make it control. If I'm in Google Chrome, if I'm in Google Chrome, this isn't going to work. This is not going to be control. You can see here it's showing as B for pin. And then if I go all the way to the Firepacker, it shows in control. So in Firepacker, it will be control, but other it won't be. So you can add this and you can like minus it, but I'm going to keep it to my B over here. Okay. So we move on to our pin area. So over here, it's testing your area, your working area, which we will do, and of course your PA1 battery free stylus. So I've disabled these two shortcut keys, which is on your XP pen, and this over here is it's a bit of a learning curve to understand how this actually works. You can Google it, and maybe soon enough I will have a tutorial on this. It is kind of cool that you can change this. So these are like default ones that you can use, but click on this one with this 3 on each side. Remember that, and it is completely straight because that's basically the key to what you use, right? So you can move this like this. It just makes it super confusing, so I don't recommend changing this unless you're really a pro, which of course the people at XPPN did also tell me. I do prefer to keep my pressure and tilt on over here, but it's not. This is just for tilt and pressure sensitivity. So if you disable pressure like that, it will you won't, no matter how hard you press, it will not change anything. Will not change your brush size or eraser size. It won't change anything. And same for tilt. If you click on that, it will just not, it won't use your tilt settings, which gives it your pencil slash pen feel, so like real life usage. Because of course it's not a pencil, it doesn't have like those features and stuff. So I keep them both on, but if you keep both off, it's just a plain, how do you even do this? I don't think there's even pens without pressure sensitivity. It's pen sensitivity now. Ooh, tongue twisting. So it is useful to keep this both on. If you use Windows Ink, it is basically your XP pen. If you move it around, it works as a mouse. If you use it as mouse mode, it also works as a mouse, but it is fast, slow. It's kind of confusing. I usually use Windows Ink for my drawing and stuff. I prefer. Sometimes I do swap between the two, but really. Okay, so now let's get into the testing of our current pressure sensitivity. Remember, this has 8,191 levels of pressure sensitivity, meaning it number one is one level, number two is two level, level number two, etc. So let's get into that. In my hand, I won't do a split, right? Because you guys understand how it works. If you don't understand, please watch the Truth About the XP Pen video that I've posted, I think it 2 days ago, but please watch that video. So shows the level, and if I put a little bit of pressure, it shows like, but it's very hard to get exactly one. Look how little that is. It goes so high, so it's very hard. So you can see we so if you of course change this, let's make this higher like that. It can you see how it works? So it works weirdly, not how it should work, which is our middle one over here. So I do prefer to use the middle one. You guys can play around, but make sure it's usually on the middle one if you're not comfortable with the other ones, and clean that up with that. It also, anywhere you move onto the software, it will show there. So if I hold even this, yeah. So this is like a testing area. You can play around, clear it. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Well, really cool. Yeah. So moving on to our settings. Our settings, you can import a config, which is basically if importing one of these things with different all your settings standard is importing that, and exporting is down taking out and downloading one of these. And diagnosis tool is to kindly like diagnose what's going on, if there's any problems. Feedback is to give expert feedback, and if anything doesn't work, remember, always set things to default. This always works, and if that doesn't work, delete the driver, do a complete new setup, and if that doesn't work, contact XPPen. So of course our copyright of XPPen 2024, all rights reserved. So just keep these on. So if you put the shortcut keys off, it means none of your shortcut keys are on. Leave the indicator on, it indicates things, and prompt, not sure what that does. I think it prompts different things and like lights up, but please leave that on. It is really nice to keep that on. So basically that's what we have. Almost a 15-minute tutorial, which is coming in 14 minutes, but it will go to 15. So this is the really ultimate guide. So if you guys are struggling a lot, contact me, and I will try and help you out. But make sure if default doesn't work, of course, go back, delete the entire app, re-download it. Actually, I got a idea. Let's show you how to download it. Oh wait, I did say that. So let's do that. Okay, For the last part of this video, I'm going to show you how to download the software. So first up, you're going to see what is your model. So mine is the XP Pen Deco Pro M. So I would search XP Pen Deco Pro M drivers, right? It will show their drivers. So it's the Deco Pro S and M for small and medium. I have the medium, and you're just gonna click on that first link, let it load, and then once you do that, you're just going to make sure you always download the latest. So this is for Mac, this is for Windows 7, 8, 10, and 11. You download always the latest version. So this is from September 17, and then you're just gonna download that. So make sure it's for Windows. If you're using an Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, Red Hat, etc., these places use XP Linux. And of course, we have our Mac 10.13 or newer, and Mac 10.12 or newer. So there's only one version for 10.12, and a few for Mac 10.13. If you also go free drawing software, which we'll cover in the next one quite soon. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy this, and see you in the next Fire Alpaca tutorial.